What's up, everybody? So this one is going to be a little bit of a sideshow, I guess. Um, I watched Conan the Barbarian for the first time a few days ago, and pleasantly surprised. It's a film that I'd certainly heard of, but I had never watched. And part of me was like, is it going to be like some of those corny fantasy flicks from the 80s? Because some of those did not hold up well at all. I mean, some of them did, of course, but there was a time when I was watching some of those, and they're just kind of forgettable. What I think is interesting is I would say that Conan was probably the best of the bunch that I saw from those sort of fantasy 80s movies. And when I think about it, this movie came out like shortly before I was born, I would say, in 82. This is kind of the birth or around the time of Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. And yeah, it's probably one of the best ones. And like when something good comes out, of course, there's, imitators. It makes room for others to get their stories told. Again, this is why I say that as an artist, it doesn't make sense for me to hate on something great. It just like, this is why I keep telling you, if something sucks, things that suck close the door. That's kind of the point. This is why when something is trash, I'll call it out in a way because I'm like, you're fucking it up for other people. But when your stuff is amazing, it's a win because it's really a win for multiple people, right? Something to think about. So Conan the Barbarian comes out. I'm sure it wows the audience on some level, and we see more and more of these fantasy flicks. Now, Conan the Barbarian was partly written by Oliver Stone, who is a genius, okay? This is the guy that wrote Scarface. So again, it's interesting. It's just like you kind of see some of that same energy and blood in a lot of great shit, if you get what I'm saying. Not obviously Oliver Stone's, not everything he made was amazing, but I mean, Scarface is easily one of the greatest movies ever made. And I will one day do a video on Scarface. It's just that that's like a 2-hour sit down or something like that because that's literally top 3 movie of all time for me. But John Milius and Oliver Stone were involved in the writing of this. And what I thought was really interesting about this film, just from a writing perspective, was how little they spoke. It's a very strange film. If you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. Because again, great artists do things that they'll break one rule, but everything else remains consistent. That's why, again, you can't really listen to somebody that breaks all the rules at the same time. That's a person that doesn't understand craft. What's interesting is when you have, let's say an art piece and it breaks one rule, or even two, let's say, and does it really well, right? While everything else is standard and is done at a really high level or a very good level. That's when you kind of like, So I thought this was interesting. A lot of times they're just kind of like staring at each other. There's a lot of this sort of like silence, which really adds to the atmosphere of the film. It's really brilliant. And then when people do speak, they either say something goofy, which is funny, or they'll say something that's actually kind of deep, like low key. So anyway, I thought this was quite a good movie, and I'm glad I watched it. But there was a part where, I almost cried, man. A real talk when I heard this. I'll show you what I mean. So this is a bit of a spoiler, but and one of the guys is coming to get Conan. I was like, that's where they got it from. I had no idea that because the moment I heard that, I was like, it just took me back to like 7-year-old me, essentially playing Golden Axe, right? Which is the first game I absolutely loved. In fact, it's literally one of 2 video games I remember playing as a kid on my PC, and the one that I preferred the most. The other one was a game called Gods. This is taking it back, but I guess I've always been into sort of fantastical things. This game was hard as fuck for anybody who, if you guys remember this, and it was weird and creepy, and difficult. I was, again, maybe we're products of a certain era, but I always liked mystical, strange shit, right? Oh, you got to see the opening. Where's the opening of this? I want to see if, this will kind of give you an idea. Just a really bizarre kind of. The waterfall. This was like, and the music is kind of good in this. Back then, when people put effort into the music, right, of their video games. No, but this is all cleaned up and shit. No, this is not it. This is not it. There's one that's like a much more, like almost like a darker intro. But anyway, the point is, this game I couldn't get through. I would like I got killed in the first like second or third level, and I just could not progress. It is really hard, very puzzle piece oriented type of game. But Golden Axe I absolutely loved, and I was shocked to see just how much of Golden Axe took from Conan the Barbarian. But and again in its own way, and this is why I'll go on a tangent here. But great movies lead to great games, not the other way around, right? Because games are derivatives of movies. Any game you can think of, Prince of Persia is a derivative of the Zorro films, right? The creator himself has said this. That whole, like, if you watch the silent film of the Zorro films from like 1920, I think it was, this movie's The Mark of Zorro. This movie is crazy. This is a crazy ass movie. Like, the stunts that they were doing in the 1920s, this dude is jumping off freaking buildings and shit. Like, anyway, the point is, that whole leaping from place to place parkour, people been doing this shit. And that's where Prince of Persia was inspired by, the original game. And my point is, the movies are the ones that inspire people to make the games, because it's like you watch this really cool story and then you want to experience what it's like to be that person. But you won't see it the other way around in terms of a game that has a great narrative that brings it into film. It just doesn't work that way. And the reason for that is because games do have a narrative, but it's much more experiential, right? In fact, if a game gets bogged down in narrative, it becomes a boring game, all things considered. You want to engage with the game. You don't want to watch the game. It's a different experience. That's why when I see these video game movies, I'm like, they're always trash. These video game movies and video game shows, they will never be great, respectfully. Even though they'll try to convince the audience, but really, if you sit and think about it, you'll be like, this will never be great. It will never be amazing. It won't be Conan the Barbarian. You know what I'm saying? It won't be The Mark of Zorro, right? It'll just be a middling movie or a middling TV show, all things considered. And okay, if that's what you want, then that's fine. But I don't really like middling shit. Let's see here. I love this game, man. This is my guy, Julius Thunderhead. Let's go. So, interesting enough, the three major characters in Conan the Barbarian are Arnold Schwarzenegger, Axe Battler, right? They literally repurposed them. The girl, who's really sexy, by the way, especially for her time. I thought she was a really great cast. The lady in Conan the Barbarian. I thought this was brilliant. You know, Sandel Bergman, right? She really played a really good role in this movie, and her death was sad. Oh, spoiler. But anyway, the point is, like, it was great. It was well done. And then they replaced, there was a dude who was like, who was he? Was he he looked like almost like an Asian character. Was he? I don't know. Anyway, they replaced that guy with the Julius Thunderhead, who was like an Axeman. So that they made new. But again, inspired video game. And Death Adder. Death Adders, again, this is literally them repurposing Thulsa Doom. Who, the great James Earl Jones. I should have been seeing this movie when I think about it. I should have been seeing this movie because Thulsa Doom was great. And this scene, Steel Isn't Strong, boy. Woo! Oh, I'm not going to ruin this, but this scene is insane.
There was a time, boy, when I searched for steel. And steel meant more than even gold or jewels.
Steel. R.I.P. Brilliant, man. Thulsa Doom. Thulsa Doom was wearing, see, like, they took this whole snake thing, Death Adder. Anyway, it's brilliant. It's actually like this game, brilliant movie, brilliant game, right? See? But I thought this was great. And it just really brought me back to these days. This great music. I used to play this. I played this game for years. Now, why this is all hip hop related? Because it's all sampling, right? They took the screams from Conan the Barbarian into right? Into the game. Crazy, right? So, and they took from Rambo as well. So people sample. I mean, this is why when, as a kid growing up, when people used to shit on rap, I was like, man, you guys sound like haters. And I was right. The truth is, if hip hop had been invented by white people, okay, and I'm gonna be very blunt here, if they had invented it, we would be hearing nonstop about how genius hip hop is. We would have hip hop restaurants. I mean, we do now to a certain extent, but we would have had hip hop banks and the whole nine, right? Because the truth is, it is brilliant. The idea of sampling, technologically sampling, human beings have always sampled. But hip hop took it to a whole nother dimension that people just were not doing. Let's be honest here. So anyway, I love that. But of course, my favorite part about, Golden Axe that I always remembered was getting the magic items at the end of the battle. So you've just finished beating up these people. Difficult battle. Let's see if I can find it. Da-da-da-da. Where you get your magic back? Ah, that's just the shit. And this is literally where, again, the Golden Axe theme of Thief comes from. Chicka, my nigga, round all night. Now you can understand why I love this fucking joint. It sounds like Power Up. It's like, let's go, nigga. I beat everything else. Let's go. Let's get the magic back. What? Yo, J.A. I flow sick. Oh, y'all haters blow dick. That shit, this beat is insane. And then, of course, when you got DMX. Money, cash, oh, money, cash, oh, it's money, cash. What? Money, cash, oh, money, cash, oh, money, cash, come on. Money, cash, what? Hoes, money, cash, chicks, money, cash, oh, money, cash, hoes, money, cash, oh, money, cash, money, cash, oh, money, cash. Took it to a whole nother level, yo. Whole nother level, man. R.I.P. DMX. Rest well, man. And this is art. This is literally the progression of great art. Okay, so shout out to Swizz, man. Again, people hate on Swizz. Dame Grease could never. Okay, I'm just gonna say. I've said that. Shout out to Dame Grease though. Great. I mean, again, I've talked about ATF. ATF is brilliant. Okay, on the DMX album, this shit floored the fuck out of me when it came out, because I saw it and I was like, someone should get an award for this shit, because doing sound effects and layering them the way that they did, it was unheard of on that level. Digitally, it's easier now and still difficult in a way to pull it off that well. I can only imagine how they were doing it back then. It was unreal. So, but still, Swizz put his foot in his beat. And this might be my favorite beat that he's ever done, for just the sonic reasons, and then of course the lineage of the song. Let's say the sample. Anyway, just something that's a little aside, but love this beat, man, and love this song. And if you haven't seen Conan the Barbarian, I recommend it. If you like fantasy films, I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good. It has this eerie, it's a very strange film. It's very atmospheric and eerie, but also a little bit goofy. But also you just feel like you just get trapped in that world, that's real storytelling, man. I miss that shit. I miss it, honestly, man. We've come a long way. We've really fallen off. Shout out, by the way, this is also slight aside since we're talking about films. But here's somebody I just started recently following. Shout out to him if he ever sees this, I don't know, but this dude, Midnight, Movie Talk. I love this dude. I think this dude is hilarious. I just found his channel out a couple of days ago. And he was saying some shit about Kendrick Lamar just off cuff. And he was like, what is this shit? He just tells it as it is. Because this is the problem. And I've realized, it's nice when I see people that it makes me feel I'm not crazy. We all see how weak this shit is. It's just that most of us don't have the balls to speak out about it. But we all know that this art shit has gone fucked. The music is trash. The movies are trash. And it's not like we clearly love this stuff, but it's become this identity bullshit. Like, and it's a grift. We all know it's a grift. We all know that the people that push this identity stuff can't write worth a lick, can't sing worth a lick, can't rap worth a lick. That's why they push identity, identity, identity. It's a grift, right? We need to get back to people who genuinely love storytelling, who genuinely love music, who genuinely love hip hop, who know how to do it properly. And that's the truth of the matter. So anyway, speak your truth and don't be afraid, because at the end of the day, the tide is shifting. People are getting tired. Not immediately, maybe right now, but over time, people will get tired of this shit. I'm already tired of it, and we'll just start saying whatever the hell we want to say. And that reminds me about Conan the Barbarian, because there are little lines in there where I'm like, yo, this line would not fly today. But it works for the film, right? At the end of the day, art is art, yo. All this, like, moral high ground bullshit that people have been pushing. It's enough. Anyway, I'm going to catch y'all later. Thanks for watching as always.